Hello and welcome. This is Cherie with Rehashfiber. Today I invite you to join me as we have an interview with Christina Harkness, the artist behind the Community Coral Reef. The Coral Reef is an entire Pacific Northwest reef made up of fiber art objects, knit, crocheted, felted, and there is some recycled items there. I encourage you to check it out. If you can go in person, it is showing in Salem, Oregon right now at the Willamette Heritage Center. Also, if you are not able to make it there, check out her website and her Instagram page. And you can see plenty of pictures there. And also, it will be showing in different locations in the future. And again, you can check out her site to find out where it is. Right now, join me as I visit with Christina Harkness. Hello everybody, I'm here with Christina Harkness in Oregon and her opening is coming soon. Welcome, Christina Harkness.
Well, welcome to you. Welcome to Oregon.
I'm so glad we're back together again.
Yeah.
So we get to hear more about the progress of the reef. So last time we were together was November of 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
When you were doing artist in residency in Port Townsend, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys want to catch that interview, check the link in the bottom of the show. I will have that there and you can get a fuller background on Christina here and the workday that was in Port Angeles,
yes,
Washington. So here we are getting ready for your opening in Salem.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about that.
So we had an opening here we're in Lincoln City, Oregon right now. We had an opening at the Lincoln City Cultural Center, and that ran for 3 months. And that concluded last year, at the end of last year. And we hadn't known that we were going to have that when we initially set up our Salem show. So we thought Salem was going to be the first one. And so being able to have the Lincoln City show kind of gave us a dry run. You know, how are we going to do this? Because our reef is, you know, it's thousands of pieces, but we have made them into, we call them vignettes, where it's like a chunk. So we're moving these big chunks around, and it really is dependent upon the gallery where we're at. So what is the shape of the room? What are our options? And so we got to play around with that in Lincoln City, and then now in Salem, we have everything already ready to go. And it starts, the opening is on this coming Thursday, and then open to the public on Friday. But you know, it was our knowledge of how we had to set it up in Lincoln City that really helped how we set it up in Salem. So.
Very good. How long does it run for there?
It runs for 3 months, so March 22nd to March, April, May, June, yes, to June 21st, I think.
Okay.
And so we're going to have, when we were in Lincoln City, we had on the opening night the show Saving Atlantis, which was a documentary put on by Oregon State a few years ago about coral reefs and climate change and you know, the science behind it. And so we're going to show that again in Salem, and that's going to be on the week of Earth Day. And so I believe it's going to be on a Earth Day might be on a Monday and it's on a Tuesday, or vice versa, one or the other. So
okay,
yeah,
great.
So it's I like to have my whole, everything that I do with my fiber art really does kind of blend science and fiber art. And so I really like to have the fact that you can go through the exhibit, but then you can also learn the science behind what's there. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, the pictures of the reef have been phenomenal. Very, very fun to see, all the colors. Okay, so the reef being displayed now, what are some of the fun facts about it? Like, how many pieces are there?
Yeah, so it was funny because I had created a brochure that people could look at when they come into the reef, just to kind of explain a little bit about coral reefs, a little bit about bleaching, a little bit about pollution, you know, kind of a little narrative of what they're seeing. And so when I created that, we had hundreds of pieces, but now we have thousands. And I was just thinking, right when you were saying, when you came to Port Townsend and Port Angeles, I could fit pretty much everything in my car at that time. And now when I move the reef, it's a 15-foot U-Haul, and that's full.
Wow.
So it has exponentially increased.
Which is wonderful, but a lot to move.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And when we can usually get everything settled in a couple of days, get everything moved, get everything staged, and then there's a lot of stuff that hangs from the ceiling, there's stuff that hangs on the walls, but because the pieces are modular, it is easier to put together than if we built everything, at the time of the installation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so just a curiosity question. So a lot of your pieces were, not a lot, but I know your pieces came from all different ways, from people taking them to yarn stores,
Mm-hmm.
some of them mailing them to you. What is the piece that came from the farthest away?
I believe we had a piece that came from England. I had people as far away, people in Poland had contacted me. I didn't receive anything from Poland, but there was a conversation back and forth for a while of, how can I get this to you and what do you want and everything. So, and then what's interesting is that I've had, people all over the United States not only inquire about making things, but also inquire about having the reef. And then when they find out it's me in a U-Haul, then and usually I'm like, but you can do this locally. You know? It doesn't have to be me. I don't have to take the Pacific Northwest Community Coral Reef to the Atlantic Ocean. You can do the same kind of project there and incorporate your own flora and fauna from your area. So it's have fun.
Yeah. That's neat, though. All the contributions to it and all the work you did as well, I think it's really beautiful. And I'm very excited to see it all set up. Take a walk through it.
And what's really cool is that, like, when we were in Lincoln City as our first installation, we really, working with what they had there, they had the long tables around the edge of the room, and so we just kind of had to build the reef that way. And in Salem, there's large platforms, so it's all the reef in one huge area, and so you get much more of a punch, much more like you're actually looking at a real coral reef.
Wonderful.
So it's very cool.
I can't wait to see it. So are there any other little or special things about it that we might want to look for when I'm there?
Yeah. So in the brochure that I wrote up, I talked about there was a ship that was carrying Lego back in 1997, and one of the cargo, big cargo containers on the ship was washed over and spilled in the ocean. And ironically, it was marine-themed Lego pieces. And so since 1997, these pieces have been washing up all over the world. A huge amount in Cornwall, England, so you can, anytime after a storm, people will go to the beaches there and they can find Lego pieces. And if you follow on Instagram, Legos Lost at Sea, the woman that runs that actually wrote a book about the spill and about where they wash up and just the pieces that are found, and really talking about, plastic pollution in the ocean. And so to talk about that on our reef, I put out a call to our local, buy and sell, swap thing on Facebook, and was, saying, I just need a handful of Lego. Do you have a handful of Lego at your house that I could have? And so one of the ladies in the town where I live said, stop on by, and I drove my car up, and she just held out a bucket. I grabbed a handful and I drove away. So it was all all very nefarious Lego deals in the driveway. So when you're going through the reef, you can find, see if you can find little lost Legos on the reef.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat. Yeah, we'll have to look up that book too by the author.
Yeah, it's very good.
How fun.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Scavenger hunt for Legos.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So when the reef is done in Salem, what are its plans in the near future, and then what are your ideas or wishes for it in the long term?
So we are going to go back to Lincoln City. So our show ends in June in Salem. It starts up in August in Lincoln City and will run for 3 months. And then after that, we don't have any other scheduled installations, so we're looking for any place that would be interested in hosting the reef. My ultimate goal is to connect with places like aquariums, science centers, kids museums, things like that. It's beautiful to have it in an art gallery, and I appreciate that very much because it is art. And I think so often fiber art is not given the respect that it deserves. And so I get a little snippy. And yes, it should be in an art gallery, but it also borders that it's also science. And so, I think that it's easier to get fiber art people to come to an aquarium than it is to get scientists to come to an art gallery.
Yeah.
Yes. So meet your people, meet your audience where you can. But I would love to have a show at the Monterey Bay Aquarium or the Aquarium of the Pacific, somewhere in California. But ultimately, I would like to donate the whole reef to a place where it could be a permanent installation. I know I've seen where the Ontario Science Center they had a fiber art reef there a few years ago, and now it's a permanent display, and it's behind glass, and it's beautiful. And so I would love to see it have a home like that.
That would be great. Yeah, we can hope for that.
Yeah.
You never know
You
who
never know.
sees it and would want it there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing and a very interesting thing to have. Everybody will love seeing it. Yeah. All right, so I was curious, do you want any more pieces donated from people for the exhibit, for the exhibits in the future?
Yeah, technically, that word is carrying a lot of weight. Technically, we're not seeking more pieces, but we do have an option when we do our Lincoln City show to create some arches, and so where people can actually walk under like a coral arch. And so to do that, we do need more of the hyperbolics, and even we could probably use some column corals and stuff for that as well. So we are accepting more.
Okay.
I feel like a masochist when I say that. We are accepting if people want to make more pieces for that. That's fine. And they can just go through my website and contact me through there, and I can give them the mailing address. So.
Okay, fantastic. Well, there may be people that seeing the reef any which way, in person or on Instagram or the website, feel inspired. Because I know I felt inspired when I saw it coming, which created all of this, us meeting and, and creating some pieces, and so people may feel inspired. So that's good. They still have a little opportunity,
a little
window if they want to make something. So then one more thing, I know you have spoken about recycling and art, so I'd like to hear more about that.
The one thing that has been a real gift out of this whole project is to be able to connect with the community of artists who make things out of recycled materials. And so we've got a really strong community here on the Oregon coast of people that do that. We have a gal who basically dumpster dives, and I know she won't mind that I say that, because she really does. She dumpster dives down at the docks in Newport and gets fishing gear and creates beautiful weavings and like huge jellyfishes and just amazing things out of art that is, or out of items that are basically trash. Somebody threw that away. We have people that make beautiful art out of driftwood pieces from the beach. We have people that are making, basically taking apart plastics, breaking up pieces of plastic, sorting it in colors, and making mosaics. And so, I think it's, for all that we talk about, trying to reduce our footprint and recycle things, I think it's important that we can get creative with these things and make beautiful pieces. And it's also an entry, I think, for people that, we don't have the money to go out and buy. Maybe we don't want to buy the new things, or maybe we just don't have the money to buy the new things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anybody can be creative with quote unquote trash.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That sounds great.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right. Any other information for us?
Just come to the exhibit in Salem, or look us up and come to Lincoln City, and just come and enjoy it, and hopefully take a message back home that we can all do a small part to reduce our footprint and do the best that we can to have a better world.
Yeah, we all need to do the best that we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do come to the exhibit in person if you are able. If not, I'm going to be there on the first opening night for contributors, right? And I will take as much footage as I can for you so that you can see it if you are not able to come in person. Also, follow her on Instagram, coral_knits.
Okay.
And are you also putting things on Facebook?
Not so much.
Okay.
Instagram's mine.
Instagram is it. It's great for the pictures and
Yeah.
everything. So, all right, that is it for today. And we will see you at the exhibit. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for joining us while we visited about all that information on the Community Coral Reef. So a little behind the scenes stuff there. That was my Airbnb. Outside that window across the street is the ocean. It was a wonderful place to stay. And if you listen in the video, the white noise there is the sound of the ocean. Every morning I would sit at that table and have coffee and knit or read. And a seagull would visit me every morning on the ledge there. And I got quite fond of him and started missing my animals at home. So I would slide the window open, have a little visit, and I just enjoyed that seagull so much. All right, so now I'm going to show you a little bit more of the beauty of Oregon. Happy travels, and thanks for watching.